Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Israel Brief, brought to you by Lay of the Land. I'm Rolene Marks, bringing you those top stories making headlines every Monday to Thursday. So let's get into those top stories, and we begin with the harrowing news that in the early hours of this morning, 2 IAF naval pilots were killed when their helicopter, an AS-565 Panther, crashed into the sea off the coast of Haifa. It is believed that a malfunction rather than any kind of attack was the result of, or the cause rather, of the crash. Another soldier was injured. The two pilots on board have been identified as Lieutenant Colonel Erez Sahyani, a 38-year-old father of three, and 27-year-old Chen Fogel. He was posthumously promoted to major. The Israeli Air Force chief has grounded the entire fleet of Panthers pending an investigation. Prime Minister Bennett, today paying tribute to the two fallen soldiers, said that they were the best of Israel. They were our best sons, and that all of Israel is grateful for their service and that they died protecting Israel's security. Our thoughts and prayers are with their families. Our thoughts are with the injured soldier. We pray for a recovery very, very soon, and may their memories be eternally blessed. Yesterday, we brought you news that Israel has started rolling out a fourth coronavirus vaccine for anybody over the age of 60 and healthcare workers. This is following the fourth vaccine being administered to anybody who is immunocompromised as well. Now, overnight, hundreds of thousands of Israelis who are eligible either registered or received their fourth vaccine. The numbers of coronavirus infections in Israel have climbed astronomically. At the moment, there are about 10,000 new infections and over 100 serious cases. It has also been reported that the head of Hamas, Ismail Haniyeh, has tested positive for the coronavirus. But don't worry, he's not in Gaza, he is in Qatar. In other health-related news, the Ministry of Health announced earlier today that they will open from the 11th of January surrogacy to same-sex couples, single men and transgender people who wish to become parents. This directive has been given in coordination between the Director General of the Health Ministry as well as the High Court of Justice. It has also been hailed as a landmark civil rights ruling. We now come back to the IDF, but this time a more positive story. The IDF have announced that they will be opening up a battalion or a platoon specifically for religious women who wish to be part of a combat unit. Now, over the years, the IDF has slowly started integrating women into traditional male combat roles. We have women who are tank operators, and we also have women who are part of the infantry combat units. But there are many religious women who want to serve in a combat unit while still respecting modesty and religious beliefs. And the IDF are going a long way to try and accommodate this. And we say kol hakavod to these women who are breaking the glass ceiling while still respecting their religious beliefs. And our final story is one that has ignited a social media brouhaha. Yesterday it was reported that Harry Potter star Emma Watson, who plays Hermione Granger, posted to her Instagram account. Now, she has 64 million Instagram followers, so we can't deny the importance of something like this. Well, anyway, a post was put on which was seen as extremely tone-deaf because it was posted shortly after 2 rockets were fired at Israeli civilians from the Gaza Strip. Well, anyway, the post signified solidarity with Palestinians and said that solidarity is not a verb. Now, of course, this ignited an absolute firestorm on social media, with many, including our former ambassador to the United Nations, Danny Danon, and our current ambassador to the United Nations, Gilad Erdan, taking pot shots at Watson and calling her an anti-Semite. But there are other details that must be taken into account. First of all, Emma Watson has apparently sold her Instagram account to a feminist collective. They post, and she has made it quite apparent that she wants to stay away from political posts. However, these posts are still done in her name. Now, many, including myself, reject the post as being anti-Semitic. I see it as more irresponsible. When you have 64 million followers, and we saw this last year with people like Susan Sarandon, the Hadid sisters, and various other celebrities who were quick to castigate Israel, the results of this can be quite dire. Anti-Semitism is at astronomical levels around the world, and posts like this are very, very unhelpful. Now, while her Instagram post didn't take any particular dig at Israel or Jews, it is seen as many as being extremely, extremely divisive, especially on a very, very complicated and complex conflict that has been ongoing for decades and is certainly a very, very polarizing issue. Now, Watson as well is a UN Women's Rights Ambassador. And I have to be honest, I also took to social media to say to her, if you're going to post or have these kind of posts in your name and still call yourself a women's rights activist, you have to be cognizant of the situation for women in Gaza and the West Bank who are not under Israeli democracy and Israeli human rights governance. So I'd be interested to hear your thoughts. If you have any thoughts on it, please post in the comments section below. But our final thought is that to celebrities who want to be politically engaged, you have a massive platform to create an opportunity for people to engage in constructive dialogue and talk about solutions and talk about peace. You maybe want to be more cognizant of who is posting in your name and what kind of divisive issues they are posting on. So that's my rant for the day, but don't forget that you can view our content on our website at www.layoftheland.online. We will be back next week with a whole host of interesting brand new content. It will be posted to our Facebook page at Lottel Site. If you haven't already joined our community, please give us a like or a follow. We want to get that following up to 2,000 as quickly as possible. So if you haven't already, go there right now, like us, follow us, share our content. The same applies for our YouTube channel. You can find us at the Israel Brief, and let's see how many of you click on the subscribe button so we can get that number up to 300 as well. We're putting out numbers challenges, people. Help us with it. And if you want to engage with us on Twitter, you can find us at Lay of the Land 5. That's at Lay of the Land 5. So with today's edition of the Israel Brief, I'm Rolene Marks, and we'll check in with each other tomorrow for your top stories.